All right, we're gonna get started in like 10 seconds if we can, so we can, 30 seconds.
You, yes.
Ding! That means.
Ring that bell.
All right. Good to go. All right, testing again. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Das. I am the PTO Trust President, as well as the CCMS PTO President. I'll be your moderator this evening. And alongside me, I have Katie Larman. She will be our timekeeper for this evening, and I'll go over what her duties are in a bit. The questions being asked today have come directly from the public. We collected them over the last few weeks, and obviously due to time constraints, we had to condense the questions. Many of them that were submitted were very similar in nature, and after the forum, we will email you the full listing of questions, so if there's anything you would like to respond to in particular, you can do so on any of your platforms. We will be live streaming, so if anybody's sitting out there, you want to just double check that we're good to go, text somebody at home, see if they can make sure they see us. And we will start with introductions from each of our candidates. We'll start in alphabetical order, and you will have 2 minutes for your introductions. After that, we will move on to questions. You will have 1.5 minutes for each of your questions. And again, each of you will have a chance to start first. We have our timekeeper again, Katie Larman. She will be holding up a 30-second warning sign when you're just about 30 seconds left, and then she will be ringing the bell when you are done. As a reminder, just to the general public, we have 5 open positions. So with this being said, the 3 candidates receiving the highest number of votes will receive the 3 3-year positions starting 7/1/26 through 6/30/29. The candidate receiving the 4th highest vote will be elected to fill Richard Schaffner's vacated position from 5/20/26 through 6/30/28. And the candidate receiving the 5th highest vote will be elected to fill Eleonora Fazio's vacated position from 5/20/26 to 6/30/27. And as a reminder, voting will be conducted next Tuesday at the middle school from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So we will get started with our introductions. And remember, you have 2 minutes, and we will start with Kate Carey.
Just want to start out by thanking the PTO Trust for the opportunity to introduce myself to everyone, especially being the new kid on the block in regards to the Board of Ed. So I am Kate Carey. I was born and raised in Goshen, New York. I married my high school sweetheart, and after he graduated West Point, we left on a military adventure. We have 5 children, and in 2023, his commitment was up, and we always knew we wanted to come back to Orange County. Obviously, with 5 school-age kids, schools were top priority, so Cornwall was really a no-brainer. We love living here. I have a high schooler, 2 middle schoolers, and twins at COH Elementary, so covered at every school, and we really have immersed ourselves in everything Cornwall has to offer, sports, clubs, activities. I have really thrown myself into volunteering. I'm on COH Special Events, the Cornwall Youth Committee, and then at COH Elementary, I've been a room mother, and I've been on the PTO for the last 2 years as the vice president. So love being involved in the community, and this is just a way to continue giving back. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. So no, that's okay. And yeah, I reiterate the thanks for putting this together. It's more than just what's going on here tonight. So all the coordination ahead of time and everything else, we really appreciate that effort and giving us an opportunity to, speak openly and answer questions directly. So thank you for that. My name is Christine Diaz. I have lived in Cornwall over 20 years. I can't do the math that fast, but over 20 years, I have twin daughters that have graduated from Cornwall schools, both in college now. Throughout their education, both my husband and I volunteered. He used to be called the book sale dad because I was working and couldn't get here, but he would be the one at the book sale. So we were heavily involved in their entire experience. My husband is a teacher, my mom's a teacher, so I come from a family of teachers, although I am not one. I have a strong belief in public education and the difference it can make in kids' lives. And I decided to run for the board last time around. It was a lot of political strife going on and feeling very out of control and like, what can I do to make a difference? And I thought, like, this is the place where I can put my skills to work, and it gives me an opportunity to contribute in a meaningful and responsible way. And I really do feel honored to be able to do that. And I appreciate the trust and the responsibility that the community gave me an opportunity to fulfill last time. And since everyone will get a seat, I look forward to doing it again. Of course, I would like to do it for 3 years, but it's been a great experience, and I look forward to hearing what else people are concerned about and what they would like to know more about. So thank you.
Hello, my name's Carl Gilpatrick. I've been in Cornwall for 30 years now. I have 3 daughters. 2 of them graduated in Cornwall. And I have 1 grandson that we just had December 24th, so I'm proud of that. Yeah, and I started here about 3.5 years ago based on some of the things that I saw, and we wanted to create a better atmosphere in the school district. So since that time, I became the head of one of our departments here in visitation, and we've gotten around, we've spoken to the teachers. We've actually had a great relationship with the superintendent, the assistant superintendent of schools, and now she's the current superintendent of schools. And things seem to be going really well here. So the goal is to keep that going for me. As far as visitations, we used to come to the schools here. We'd come maybe twice a year. Now we're up to 4 times a year. We're having a great things with the teachers now. And once we spill that to the teachers, it goes to the students. And for me, that's the goal here, is to make sure that our students are taken care of.
You have to reset your clock? No? Okay. Hi, I'm Margaret Quinn. I've been on the board before. I served 2 terms on the board back in 2017 to 2023. Really got involved just because my pathway has always been toward education. Even before I knew I wanted to be a teacher, which didn't happen until I was 39. Had a lot of different experiences, and kind of, once I had kids, went, how do I translate all of those experiences into something that can also work with my kids' schedule? And teaching came part of it. So I ran on the board. I was there for 2 terms, like I said, enjoyed working with everybody else in collaboration. We passed the last capital project that was just finished up, well, almost finished up. The schools, the windows at COH are going to be finished this summer. Just working together with a bunch of people that bring so many great things to the table, different experiences, different viewpoints, and then to be able to work together with them to, I'm going to try and talk you over to my side because I think that my idea is good. You're going to try and talk you over to your side. And then at the end, we take a vote, and then we move on. So collaboration and really just a willingness to work together, I think, are very important. And I had to take time off to get my parents settled. They're 96 and 90. So I had to get them settled. And now they're settled. We sold the house. It's great. And now my responsibilities are a little less in that I'm not there every day anymore. I still am in teaching. I do a lot of stuff around the community. I teach at Mount St. Mary's College. I've gone through a lot of elements of the school district, from volunteering to teaching to lots of good stuff. So I'm hoping to bring all that to the board and, and keep the momentum going. We've got a new super. Let's take it. Let's move.
I'm Kathleen Hand. I'm a proud 7th generation resident of Cornwall and a 2006 Cornwall Central High School graduate. I hold a bachelor's degree in communications from Southern Connecticut State University, a master's degree in childhood education from Long Island University, and I'm currently going to go back to school in the fall for a certificate in school and building leadership. Currently, I'm a second grade ICT teacher for the Newburgh and Large City School District. So I combine my real world experiences and proven leadership, and I have a wealth of knowledge of what happens in the classroom to bring forth to the board to work with my co-board members here. I'm really passionate about making sure that every child in the district receives a high quality education like I did and I'm so thankful for. And I want the children to be prepared for success, whether it's for college or for the workforce. So I'm running as a community member. I'm an educator who's ready to work collaboratively with my fellow board members and educators, parents, administration, and the students to just make sure that Cornwall continues to be the best school district in the county.
Again, Katie is not happy that she cannot ring the bell over there. You guys have to start going over or something. I don't know what's happening. All right, we're gonna move. We're gonna move on to the questions. As I stated, we will start now with Christine, and we will go around the room. You will have 90. Yeah, I know. That's perfect. We will give you 90 seconds to answer these questions. And again, if everyone can hold their applause until the very end of the forum, we'd greatly appreciate it. So Christine, we will start with you. What does ethical and effective leadership look like on a board of education? And how would you foster respectful collaboration, equity, transparency, and meaningful engagement with your fellow board members, families, staff, and the broader community when making decisions that affect our students? And again, if you guys need me to repeat the question as we move down, please let me know. Leadership, equity, and community engagement.
Okay. I think the real essence of that is trust and transparency. So building relationships with anyone requires that, and that is only done through listening. And based on the work I do every day in my professional life and just what I've learned over time, that is how you build collaboration. It's how you build trust. When it comes to working with the community, it's a matter of listening. You know, over the past 3 years, when there were things that were happening that I wasn't sure I understood or I didn't know someone's point of view, I reached out to people and said, hey, help me see this your way. You know, I want to understand more where you're coming from. And I think that builds engagement with the community. I've done it with the teachers, with the union, with the administration, and I think it just it demonstrates my willingness to collaborate, to listen, and then, to step up and lead by example, really. I mean, that's, you can say all the right things, but are you showing up and doing it every day? And I like to think I am, and when I'm not, I welcome people to hold me accountable so I can get better.
For me, this is all about the kids. Okay, and what we have to do is we all have to work together here. The teachers, we need to keep the teachers happy. We need to keep the students happy, and these are the ways of doing it. And that's by opening up our doors all the time. If people have the need to call and find out, different things or how we can help them, and help, this all falls back down to the children again. So these are the things that we need to do. We need to work with the parents. We need to work with the teachers. We have to work with the superintendent, obviously. But no, these are things that we need to do. And I see that in this group that we have now, I see that happening. So, we got to continue that.
So what was it, ethical?
Leadership, equity, and community engagement. The synopsis. Would you like me to
So
reread?
how do you be
want me
a
to
board
reread
member
the-
that will do those things?
Yes. What does ethical and effective leadership look like on the Board of Education in collaboration with
Okay.
staff, teachers, all that?
I mean, it's, again, what Carl said, I agree with 100%, and Christine said it too, leading by example, right? If you're the organization that is the top of basically the CEOs, right, you have to behave the way that you expect everybody else to behave. It's like if you're a professional football player and you decide to headbutt somebody, everybody down below is going to be like, cool, I can do that too. So I think we have to walk the walk of what we expect of our kids Just like we expect them to strive for excellence every day, we need to do that as well. And, you know, by working together and working with the community, being transparent, which I think is, the role of the board also is kind of to be a liaison between what's going on and on the school level. Because everybody, you know, if we have 3 people in the crowd, that's a good thing because that means people are pretty happy with what's going on, right? But to be able to kind of say, listen, I will sit through that 18-hour-long meeting and I will tell you, you know, when you have questions, what it's about. So, working together, I think, to be able to focus on the kids, on their well-being, work with the administration who's making sure that they're getting what they need, and working with, you know, the rest of the district also to make sure that they have the buildings that work well, that they can learn in. So there you go.
So I agree as well. It's being engaged with everyone, listening regularly, whether it's informal or formal channels. And the kids first, they're our first priority, whether it's policy, budget, and things like that. Have conversations with teachers, administrations, and parents, see what they have to say, listen to ideas, have that transparency and open and honest communication. We're here to help guide this district and to follow through and make sure that everybody is having their priorities met and that the standards are high. And I think that, like Margaret said, we're the leaders of making sure that people do their job, follow through, and just having that transparency and open line of communication that we're approachable.
So I'm just thinking about the leadership part, and of course, you know, we're elected officials to this position, so obviously that has major responsibilities, but I'm just thinking with 9 of us, it's probably way more important to work collaboratively, listen, understand points of view. You know, we all come from different walks of life and have, you know, different hats that we wear in the community. So I think listening to one another and just probably, you know, being open to other ideas, and even when we don't agree. I was looking online at the Board of Ed. I think there were some guidelines or kind of like rules, and one of them was like treating each other how we would expect our children to act. So I think, you know, don't overthink it. Just listen and work together. Thank you.
All right, Carl, we're going to start with you for question number 2. This is around technology and student learning.
You had to do that. You had to start with me. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How do you believe technology, including Chromebooks and AI, should be used in Cornwall schools? What steps would you take to balance innovation with concerns about screen time, student privacy, internet safety, attention spans, and the developmental needs of our younger learners?
You know, it's funny because that's being brought up now at our board meetings, and I have to say that personally, I'm back at old school. I don't think we need to have all of this stuff all the time for these kids. We need to let these kids, allow them to use themselves as much as possible. At the same token, yes, are we going to be using them? Absolutely. But let's back down. Let's back up a little bit and allow them to use themselves, use their brains and stuff like that. We don't want them to sit there and rely on machines constantly. But so that if I'm answering you correctly on what that's exactly what I'm saying.
You are totally impartial. When I was getting my teaching license, we had a number of superintendents who were adjunct professors, and this was back in 2007-8. And they would come back to class and say that they had gone to a huge superintendent's conference, and they were saying back then, you need to create lesson plans that will allow kids to use technology, right? Because they're going to use it anyway. So you have to teach them the right ways to use it. And, you know, that's not the ultimate answer to anything. I have a background in technology. I worked in the district in IT as well for a while. And it's really important that kids learn how to use the technology, because when they're out of here, they're going to have to use it. But there's so many ways that you can use it that they still get the skills, but then they're still learning. You know, they're not just sitting there playing weird games, but they're actually using it to enrich their education and also learn. You know, at the Mount, I teach IT classes, and we have to say, you know, you still have to learn how to think critically. Just because it's on some kind of internet space does not mean that it's the facts, you know, and you have to make sure. So I think then that's kind of, I understand, you know, if kids are at home and they're playing on their iPads or what have you, and then they go to school and they come home and they're like, we played on our iPads today, you know. The natural thought is, oh my gosh, what are you doing? But so many of the educational elements that exist are also on the technology spectrum. So it's,
So into regards with Chromebooks and AI in the classroom, I see firsthand how it benefits and how it also does hurt students sometimes. So I support appropriate technology use in the classroom. Chromebooks should enhance, not replace. So again, I do like the old school pen and paper. I think we should prioritize evidence-based integration into the classroom, have teacher input and training so that they are better suited to help the students if issues should arise or if it's really working for the students or not. And I think we have to set clear policies on how we want that to be used and seen in the classroom. I'm currently taking a class right now, and we're reading a book about this. And it's funny that the studies do show some of the negative impacts with anxiety in the children, how they have like attention issues, and how they want that instant gratification. So I think as board members and as a district, we'd have to reach out to our sources within the district, which would be teachers and administration and even students, to set clear policies where it will enhance their learning, not hinder it.
I wish I had an hour to answer this because I really have a lot of thoughts on it. You know, it's 2026, so of course the students have to be technologically adept, and I totally understand that. However, I think for some kids it is such a distraction in the classroom. And then I also see that, you know, the teachers are having to monitor what the students are doing on GoGuardian, and so then I worry that that takes the time away from the teachers teaching. Kids are always a step ahead, you know, we can have all the blocks and monitors and whatever, but these kids are, you know, they know how to get around stuff, so it absolutely presents a safety issue. And then there's also a home component, which is like then when the Chromebook's at home, you know, them managing it. Actually, at COH, they were piloting a program for the fourth graders to take Chromebooks home. And I said no, because in Maryland, we actually had a Chromebook go through the washing machine. So I didn't, you know, they're just too little. So anyway, just a balance, I would say. There's tons of studies about pencil to paper being, you know, the best way for kids to learn. So I think we really need to keep that in mind.
So this is a really important conversation, and it has come to the Board of Education quite a bit recently. And I think one of the things I want to highlight is that the administration has gotten back with parents, and there's been a lot of partnering in terms of just understanding the parental concern and then sharing the district's position currently. So having said that, I do also think about a balanced approach. Technology definitely has a place in education, but we know that our youngest learners benefit from hands-on learning. And it should be a tool and not the center of learning, especially in our elementary grades. I think we need to evaluate the usage, the developmental appropriateness by grade level, prioritize direct instruction and hands-on learning, reduce unnecessary usage, but I don't think that means getting rid of it entirely. We need to support our teachers with training on the balanced classroom approach. I know they've gotten that, but for those that feel like they still want more, you know, we need to be prepared to do that. And we have to teach responsible digital citizenship. And it relates to AI, I'm with kids in college, I'm shocked about how much it's used in college, and not for the purpose of cheating, genuinely like for a tool to learn better, faster, understand things differently. It's not going away. So I think that at the appropriate age, there is value in teaching responsible use so that you are still using your critical thinking skills. You're not believing everything that you get back from AI. Oh, I missed the 30 seconds. I'm sorry.
All right, Margaret, we're going to start with you for question number 3. This is on special education services and accountability. Cornwall's special education program has faced concerns regarding compliance, communication, placement decisions, and student outcomes. If elected, what special actions would you take to improve services, ensure legal compliance and transparency, strengthen in-district programming, support inclusive practices, and build trust with families and staff?
So if I were the head of PPS, what would I do? That's basically the question. That's a lot. That's like a 17-part question. Having not been on the board for a while, would be important as far as me as a board member. What I would do is start from the beginning and find out where things are, what the players are, and again, going through the proper channels to kind of, find information about what's going on, what the complaints are, what kind of things have been coming to the board, having specific questions, and, working with, again, the experts who are in the school district who deal with this all of the time. I am not an expert in special ed, but in order to figure out what kind of issues there are and what the board can do to then help mitigate those, if it's additional funding for programs or whatever it is that will help, the special ed students who already have challenges ahead of them anyway and on a daily basis, to really pay attention to what their needs are and work together with everybody to see what we can do to make that happen.
So I support that every child deserves an education tailored to their needs. I actually support expanding inclusive practices within the district, like ICT classrooms, like the one that I teach in every day. I believe in the best placements for the students, whether it's in or out of the district, whatever meets their needs. I think we need to ask the teachers what resources, if there needs to be more funding, if they need more resources, whatever they need to get them through and to help them, any students that need extra help. I know firsthand what it's like to be in an ICT classroom all day. I see the benefits every day with my students. Having 2 teachers in a classroom to differentiate and meet the needs of all the students is very profound, and the results are really, they're mind-blowing. It makes my job very rewarding every day. So I think we just have to work together to, meet the best needs of the students and have their education tailored for their needs.
Do you mind? I just want to make sure.
I will reread the question. So, Cornwall Special Education has faced concerns regarding compliance, communication, placement decisions, and student outcomes. If elected, what specific actions would you take to help improve services, ensure legal compliance, transparency, strengthen district programming, support inclusive practices, and build trust with families and staff?
Well, every student in our district deserves their best shot at success. So, we would start there. And then I think parents are obviously the biggest role in advocating, and they deserve to be listened to, and their concerns should be definitely taken into account. As far as what I could do, I think I would listen, hear what the issues are, talk to my other board members, see if maybe they're hearing the same thing. This question mentions compliance and being out of compliance. That sounds like a huge issue that we would definitely want to look into. So again, I'll be completely honest, I would really probably need to lean on the other board members and see what they think and go from there.
So special education is a hot topic in Cornwall. When we did the superintendent search, that was one of the top things that came back as an area of concern or focus of what was most important to them. So, and I don't think my kids will mind me sharing, but both of them had IEPs all the way through school. So I'm pretty familiar with how it works, at least from the perspective of what we went through. In terms of specific actions, some of the challenges related to the board doing anything is that it's an individualized plan. So it's difficult for us to know the specifics about a student, what they could have had, what they got, is it compliant? Because that's where it is it's gray from where we sit, because there's details we won't have because it's confidential. Having said that, when parents come forward and share concerns, we listen, and then we're always partnering back with administration. I should say I'm always partnering back with administration, raising the concern. And when I start to hear themes, I'm going back and saying, okay, I'm hearing this theme, like what are we gonna do here? We did have special ed come in and do a executive session presentation for the board so that we could better understand some of those data points that maybe are not necessarily public. And we're really just starting that dialogue in terms of how we can be better partners overall and make sure families feel heard and supported as they go through their journey of special education.
Basically, this is what I've been saying all along. Okay, our students are number one. Special aid students are number one. They're right up there with everybody else. And I get phone calls all the time. It's been discussed in board meetings and stuff like that. And we need to figure out ways that we're going to help these kids. And it goes to the parents too. We need to help these parents out with all of this stuff. And so working with kids with special ed, that's one of our number one things that we have been doing for the last 3 years. I think this year we're going to see some big changes from what I've seen at some of the board meetings. And again, I'm just going to keep repeating this tonight. In the past, I've seen things kind of just lay here at the school. We have a new superintendent. We have a superintendent who's been here for, assisting for a couple months now. And I believe in her. And we've brought this up to her, and I can see things are changing. So we're just going to have to, we're going to have to put that fight up.
All right, Kathleen, we're going to start with you for question number 4, which is around budget, taxes, and district priorities. How would you balance maintaining strong educational programs with the financial impact Let me start over. How would you balance maintaining strong educational programs with the financial impact on taxpayers? What specific strategies would you support to improve transparency, ensure long-term financial sustainability, attract and retain quality staff, and use district resources effectively without compromising student services?
Okay, so again, I feel that as a board, it's our priority to put the students first, put the needs of students first, but as a taxpayer to be fiscal responsible with the money that we are getting in from them. So I think I bring a great perspective to the board as a teacher and knowing what the teachers need in the classroom and what they go through every day. As a student that went through Cornwall schools to know what it's like to be a student in the district. And then also I'm a taxpayer. I know what it's like to pay taxes and to have budgets presented or maybe some miscommunication or have the flyer come through the mail. So I just feel that being transparent and open and listen to the community and see what the needs are of the community, students, teachers, and administration to be fiscal responsible to, again, give the students the best education that they can have. Our programs are very strong already, so the budgets support those, whether it's focusing on academics, sports, arts, and theater, just making the whole student successful within that budget, but being mindful and fiscally responsible.
So, I'm sorry, could you repeat it one more time? There was just so many, no, that's okay. There was just a lot of components. I'm sorry.
I do have to say this year, we got a tremendous amount of questions, a lot, which we were very, very pleased with. The community really stepped up, and a lot of these questions we tried to combine as much as we could.
Oh, okay.
So-
Yeah,
Yes.
I just,
All right. So budget, taxes, and district priorities. How
Okay.
would you balance maintaining strong educational programs with the financial impact on taxpayers? What specific strategies would you support to improve transparency, ensure long-term financial sustainability, attract and retain quality staff, and use district resources effectively without compromising student services?
okay. Well, right now, I'm not on the board, so I'm someone looking, an outsider looking in. And obviously, we have a huge vote next Tuesday with the capital project. And I have to say, the forums, Brendan's put out a bunch of YouTube videos. The flyer, basically a booklet came in the mail the other day, really breaking everything down, especially with the tax impact. If you're in a, $200,000, $400,000, $600,000 home. So I have to tell you, as a taxpayer, I really, really appreciated all the effort that the current board has put in. I saw a lot of smart planning too, taking advantage of the state's program where basically $1 of our money was tripled by them. I thought that was a great use of resources. And then, it's tough here because we have high property taxes, so we don't get a ton of aid from the state, and it sounds like that is always kind of in question, and it's gotten lower in the past few years. So I obviously we really have to make sure that we're making good decisions, and I can only speak for myself, but I see that.
In the essence of 90 seconds, I'm just going to say ditto to what you said about Brendan's communications, et cetera, because really the information was there if you wanted to find it this year. So that was something that I think the board was really proud of. But I understand why people are concerned. Prices are rising everywhere. Taxes going up is not necessarily easy. And it is the board's responsibility to be fiscally, stewards of your dollars, your tax dollars. And so, like I said before, really the answer is balance. It's making difficult decisions with, practical and with data, with practical decisions with data. I think we have to carefully review our spending priorities to ensure that our resources are aligned with our priorities. For those of you that may not be aware, we're embarking on developing a strategic plan that will give us a look for the next 3 to 5 years. And I do think that data will help us if we have to come to a point of making difficult decisions. What has the community, because that has all stakeholders, what has the community said our priorities are? And so we can look to that for some guidance. I think, we've started, and Mr. Fink does a great job at looking at multi-year financial planning versus just year over year, like thinking, did you give me 30? Thinking long-term, okay. We have to look for efficiencies where possible, evaluate programs based on data and return on investment, so to speak, and really being transparent with the community when we have tough decisions to make, getting their input. I work in HR, and we have to often look at budgets, et cetera, and the last thing you ever want to do is cut people, so I'm really good at finding other creative solutions. That was important to finish, because I didn't want anyone to think I meant cut people, so sorry.
So what I'm going to bring up is pretty simple, pretty quick anyway. We've done this now for a few weeks. We've been going over this budget for a few weeks, and towards the end, it was about the tax rate going up. And we did have, if you watch the video, you'll see we did have some that were wanted the taxes to go up. And I had to sit there as one of the voters, and I said, we can't do this. There's people here. We want them to stay. And so we can't keep jacking up these taxes like this. So even though I want to see the students get the things they need, we also have to keep the people here. The people have to be able to live here. And so that was one of the things. And so I voted to, we were going to keep the budget down as far as I was concerned.
I'm not going to ask you to repeat it. I've got it all. It's all good. Yes, absolutely. I brought it with me because kudos to the communications committee and I know that this sometimes goes out to a company to produce it, but the content comes from the district. It's so well laid out. I was looking at a couple other districts of similar size just to kind of see in comparison kind of what kind of administrative costs they have and the like. I've always been so impressed with the fact that the bulk of our budget goes to the students, supporting the students, everything. We have a very small part that goes to the administrators. We don't have a lot of administrators. So the focus of the school district is in the right spot, right? We also want to have buildings that don't fall apart on these students. So it's always been so impressive. The budget process alone, not only is it happening in the district throughout the entire year, it's being constantly evaluated, constantly, it starts with on the ground with what the teachers want, what the different department chairs are looking for. That gets then put together and then ranked by the administrators, by the experts who do these things, and then we kind of figure it out. There's so little money for the actual board to deal with because so much of that goes to just rising costs of the same services that we have, right? We can't take things away. So the fact that the district is so fiscally responsible is always a thumbs up for me.
All right, Kate, we're going to start with you. No. Communication. How would you strengthen communication among the many groups that make up the CCSD community, including PTOs, teachers, unions, families, and other key stakeholders in our community?
So, number one thing that comes to mind is being a great listener, being immersed in the community in many different ways, which even just running for the school board, getting signatures, I talked to so many different people that, offered me their feelings, thoughts, concerns. So, just being out there and listening. Another thing I think, which again, I see that this board does, they have a great YouTube channel. You can go on there and really dive in and see exactly what's going on and then reach out with any concerns. Again, there's 9 of us, so there's, we're all in the community in different capacities. One thing we did with the COH PTO last year was we sent out a survey just kind of asking, what could we do better? What's the best way to get everyone information? And the answers were so great. Who knew flyers are like a wonderful tool to get word out and have people be involved. So, and really just being a good listener and being a good link between the community and the administration. So.
I was thinking almost identically what you shared. So when you asked the question, I thought, gosh, we think we do a good job at this, I think. If you were going to ask the board, it's like we have a website, we have a YouTube channel, we update things. But clearly, if the question's asked, there's something missing. So I will commit, because I'll get one of the seats, right? I will commit that we need to ask the question. Like, what information are you not getting in a timely fashion that is important that you would like to get, whether that's PTO, the union, teachers, and sometimes the answer might be like, we can't do that because here's why, or here's what we can do. But I think I just need to better understand what folks feel like they're missing so that we can come up with the best plan to meet the need.
Do you want to repeat that again now?
Yes. How would you strengthen communication among the many groups that make up the CCSD community, including PTOs, teachers, administration, unions, families, and other key stakeholders in our community?
So basically what you're looking for is our relationship with the parents, the teachers, and so on, okay? That's huge. And one of the things that, that we created with the visitation committee was that. we not only did we have a good relationship with the teachers, principals, the assistants, and then that trickled down to the parents. And we have so many parents that would be calling us and stuff like that to this day. So that's the goal for us. We want them all involved. They're the taxpayers. They have the children. These are all important things. If you're going to sit on the board, then these are the things that we need to work with. And again, at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure that our children are getting exactly what they need when graduation day comes. So that's where I'm at.
I think to speak to communication on the board, I have bought shares in Brendan Carty Inc. He is a phenomenal communicator. This is what he does for a living as well. He is, such a good person to be able to put things into concise words that people who are very busy and don't have time to sit through 17-hour-long board meetings, he's just wonderful at being able to put that together. I see the board as being, if you're involved in the community in additional things, you're not just on the board, but you're involved in other organizations in the community, the board is the one that can make sure that the correct information is being disseminated, right? It's the biggest thing. To try and unlearn misinformation or try to unteach misinformation is a whole lot harder than passing out the right information from the beginning. And I think that's a big role of the board, if you're involved in other community activities, that you're able to make sure that the actual information that's happening in the school district and in the board meetings gets out. So there is that transparency. Yeah, that's, there's so many opportunities for everybody to be able to see what's going on. Sometimes it's just, you need the cliff notes sometimes, and that's our job.
So I agree that I think the district does do a very good job, and the board does, with getting the information out there and communicating things. As somebody that's not in the school district every day, I am very informed of what's going on, so I appreciate that and like that part of the board's policies now. Again, I think it's just good, open and honest communication, being transparent, listening to everyone, their needs, whether it's a taxpayer, administration, a parent, the PTO, or a union. We want to be accessible and available and ready for everyone, and we shouldn't have to wait for those problems to escalate. So if we're out and visible, we can get ahead of those. I do think that communication with parents is very important so they feel partnered in their child's success. So just being available and being a smiling face for somebody or a listening ear.
Okay, we're going to now move to our closing. We're going to start with Christine. You will now have 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
So I just want to start by saying that I did not mean to sound flippant when I said we're going to get a seat, right? I don't take that for granted. I just wanted to make it clear that I will ask the question when the time comes. So if that came off that way, I apologize. But for my closing comment, I believe that we, the community, we all really want the same core things. We want strong schools, we want responsible leadership, we want a safe learning environment, and an opportunity for every student to succeed. That is really this thing in me that is, I worry about that middle child sometimes, the kid that doesn't need help or that isn't outstanding. And so I am always keeping an eye out for that. And I think we all agree we want opportunities for every student to succeed. I commit that I will approach this role thoughtfully and collaboratively and with a willingness to listen. I'm interested in helping our district make good decisions for students, for families, for our community, for educators as a whole. And I really would be honored to serve another 3 years on the board. It gives me purpose. It keeps me connected to the community, having had kids that have graduated already. And it gives me a different perspective as well because I'm a little bit removed from the day-to-day. So I think I ask a different kind of question, and I might have a pragmatic, hopefully thoughtful way to see things sometimes that with some of that experience behind me, I see a little differently. So it has been an honor to serve for 3 years, and I hope I have the opportunity to do it again. Thank you.
Impressive. That's impressive.
there's a few things I wanted to do first tonight. First of all, I want to let everybody know that we had the teachers union support. That's an awesome thing for me. We did that 3.5 years ago, and so I wanted to thank all of them for that. And that's a very important thing. Happy teachers make happy students, and that's the goal here. That's what we're trying to do. SEPTRA, UPK, I've been working with them lately. Those children, right on the top of the list of being the most important things. I started this I came to my very first meeting 3.5 years ago, and I was just shocked to see what goes on. And that's changed. And I love the group that we're with. We're all working together here. By the way, I just wanted to thank all of you. You're here, you made it, and so we're going to take it from there. So congratulations on that. But yeah, this is about, for me, this is all about the children. And one of my main things, again, is this visitation committee. When I first started here, we came once, twice for the whole year. The beginning of the year and the end of the year. What that did for us, I have no idea. Now we have meetings with the superintendent. We have meetings with the principals. 30 seconds. Wow, that's the first time. But the thing is, we're out there now, and everywhere you go, it's just been nothing but positive. And I want to keep that going. That's the goal here, is to keep this visitation going. At the end of the day, it's about the children, making them happy, and giving those children who need the extra, we need to start doing that. And I think we're walking down that road.
Good. So I've done this before. I know what I'm in for. We're all volunteers. We're all obviously very interested in the welfare of children and the benefit a good school district brings to our community. So being able to work on a kind of with the ball rolling now, we have an official superintendent of schools. We have all these great, the possibilities are endless coming forward. So what I'm going to bring to the board is I have vast experience in a lot of different industries. I worked in industries where you have to kind of keep your calm and have to behave and listen and, turn to people who are the experts and understand how things go, that if you don't really know what they are, and learn from that. So I listen, I ask questions, I do the research, and I not tonight for some reason, but generally I'm a good communicator. And I really think that we've got a lot. And the first step is to have a board that works well together, that understands one another, is respectful, and is able to listen to other opinions, let people finish speaking, and just be respectful and work together. We might not all be on the same page all the time, but I think we can, have our opinions, come to a decision, and then move on. So that's what I'm going to bring to the board in less than 30 seconds.
So again, I just want to thank the PTO and for everyone coming out and listening tonight. It was actually fun, now looking back. But again, I just want to reiterate that, again, students come first always. I'm going to fight for high academic standards, safe classrooms, support for teachers and administration, and to use every tax dollar wisely. And I believe that together as a board, we can come together to make a brighter future for our children, because we are educating them and we want them to be good, productive humans in society after they leave the halls of the high school. I believe that as an educator, I have a different point of view and I can bring a different perspective to the board. I'm also a taxpayer and an alumni of the district, so those three are three different hats that I have worn, so I can just bring a different viewpoint and have open communication with other board members. If we disagree or we agree on things, we can just have that open dialogue. And I just believe that an educator's hand should be there to help guide our schools to have a brighter future. So again, thank you.
I love this community. I see my children thriving here. I really think the school is the backbone of the community in so many different ways. I think our students are amazing. I'm just thinking about how the older students are so involved in so many ways with the younger students. Quick example, we had spring fling at the elementary school the other day, and we had these high school volunteers, and these kids, they were amazing. Really, they never stopped playing with the kids. They were completely engaged. The sports camps that the school offers, I know a lot of times the favorite part is for the younger kids is the older students that are counselors helping. So I just appreciate everything that the schools have given my kids. Again, I see them thriving. I want to be on the board because I really want to be a part of the amazing team that has us. Honestly, this district is #1 in so many ways. So it would be an honor to serve my community. And I promise I'm a good listener. I collaborate, I communicate, so I could bring all those things to the table. And lastly, I again, would just be honored to be a link between parents, students, teachers, staff, and everybody. Oh, all right. All done. Thank you.
All right, on behalf of the PTO Trust, I do want to sincerely thank you guys for stepping up, because like you guys mentioned, you know, our community thrives on volunteers. So thank you sincerely for taking the time to do this tonight. And just a reminder to our community, this is live streamed. It will be on the BOE YouTube channel. Please be sure to share this. Yesterday was the Capital, right? It was yesterday. I'm getting my days all confused. But this week was the Capital Improvement Forum, so that is also on the YouTube channel. So please be sure to share that and get out next week and vote informed. Thank you, everyone.